Hey guys, it's time to do our out-of-box review for the high-grade Build Fighters Gundam Fenice Rinascita. This is the predecessor to the original Gundam that was called the Gundam Wing Fenice, I believe. That was more kind of the asymmetrical one, and this is the kind of rebuilt symmetrical version of the Fenice, and it's the Fenice Rinascita. Anyway, it was cool in the anime, and it's definitely cool as a model kit as well. This is the high-grade version, of course. The master grade version, I believe, has just recently been released. I should be getting that in the mail pretty soon to show it to you guys, and then at that time I'm looking forward to comparing the HG and the master grade together. But for now, we're just going to focus on the high grade here, and there's a couple things that I want to point out off the bat. The first thing is that there's this clear piece here. It's just this circular clear piece that's supposed to go there in the chest, in that kind of very Wing Gundam signature jewel there in the chest. I didn't put that in because it's going to be too hard to take out when I want to paint it. There is a green sticker there though. And the other thing that I want to point out too is that I've also sharpened some of the edges that had like the safety nub on there, the flags on the end that a lot of high grades have. For example, on the top of the V-fin, the back of those green kind of ear spike things, and then these long tips of the wings all had the safety flags on there. I cut and sanded all of those off. I thought, while I'm just snapping the kit, might as well get rid of those straight away. But if you aren't planning on taking those off, just keep in mind that you are going to have some flags on there, but they're really easy to take off, so I just recommend just going in and doing that. The other thing that I want to say before we move on is a big thank you to Robots for Less for sending this kit out for me to review for you guys. I just want to express my gratitude to them and just recommend that you guys check them out. If you're living in the States, they're a great source for you guys to get some Gunpla at a very, very reasonable cost. I think a lot of stores really jack up their prices in the States from what I've seen. Luckily, I don't live there, so I don't have to shop and deal with that problem, but if I did, they are definitely, from what I've seen, one of the cheapest sources available, so very, very good. Check out their shop. If you don't know it already, I'll put the link in the description below. But let's move on with the review. So as you can see, or if you haven't noticed yet, but this is actually resting slightly on one of its wingtips. They're not totally even, but yeah, this kit has a hard time standing up by itself. As you can see, I do have it leaning back a little bit, which could be a bit of the problem. But when those wings are up, it just has a very, very hard time standing on its own. So that is a problem. But the thing about this kit is that I think, this may just be my own personal opinion, this kit doesn't really do just like standing poses, you know, and just like a stance like this where it's supposed to just like look like very intimidating and cool, just like standing there in a nice pose. This kit doesn't really do that all that well, but what this kit does do very well is dynamic poses very well. Blah, blah. So anyway, that's where this kit is going to shine, is when you got it up on action base. This is one of those kits that I actually wish that they would have provided a base for, even one of the non-articulated, just kind of standard HG non-articulated bases. I think that would have been a huge plus for this kit to come with that, because this is the kind of kit that just looks 100% better when it's just up off of its feet. So we'll get to that here shortly in the review after we do a little bit about articulation and its accessories, but that's just my thoughts on the kit. I had a hard time getting it into a pose just standing like this that looked alright. I mean, for these reviews I try to just start it off in just a very, not static, but just kind of normal, just standing pose, and it doesn't really look all that great. So let me shut this off. We'll take a closer look, and I'll talk about some of the articulation and some other things about this a little bit closer up here. Starting off with the head. I think the head on this does look really, really good. I think a lot of people complained that the head wasn't totally anime accurate, but I really like it, and I've seen pictures of it compared to the master grade head. And again, we'll talk about that more later, but although the master grade is more anime accurate, I do kind of like the look of this high grade a little bit more, possibly, but I don't know, could change my mind later, but that's just what I think at the moment. The neck is just the standard polycap double ball joint, so it's going to have some movement back and forth. Very nice movement up which is really good, and nice looking down, which is good. So that's kind of the important point for me. If it can look up really well and look down, kind of do this pose really well, then that's what's important for me. Of course, it can turn 360 degrees, but that's really not important to anyone ever. So let's move on and into the waist. There is a bit of side-to-side movement as there's a joint kind of inside there. So you do get a little bit side-to-side rotation there in the stomach. Front and back, it's going to be a little bit because it is on a ball joint, but it is very easily going to pop out of there. So wouldn't really recommend trying to move that a whole lot. The arms are just very standard, just everything moves as you would expect. The shoulders are separate like that, so they can move very well on here. This part for the beam effect part can move up and down. Rotation there, double joint here, really nice double joint. Of course, that also factors into the transformation, which we'll take a look at later. These yellow parts on the back of the arm can move. Once again, that's for the transformation, kind of the bird claws of the bird mode. And then this is one thing that I don't particularly like about the kit as well, is this part going under the wrist. I just kind of wish that that was just cut off there, but I can kind of guess, or I think that they had to do that so they could put the shield mount here, otherwise this yellow part would have to be up there. But I don't know. And if for some reason you don't have the hand in, it looks ugly inside there, but we'll get to that a little bit later because there's something more I do want to say about that. Here on the shoulders, these yellow circles are just stickers on the front and back. Here on this yellow part on the chest, as I mentioned before, that green circle is a sticker, and then these black parts are stickers as well. That's just all one yellow piece in there. And then here on the front of the waist, that is a sticker as well, that top gray one. Underneath, that's gray plastic, that's a separate piece, but that is a sticker inside there. That pretty much is the majority of the stickers on this kit, luckily. There's a couple more on the shield, but that's pretty much it on the mobile suit itself. There is a tiny green one for the camera up inside of there, and it is super tiny. On the back, there's no sticker for any camera on the back of the head because I believe it doesn't have one. There's that small kind of circle there. Don't really know if that's a camera or not, but either way, no sticker there. So moving down on the side skirts, they're just going to move up and down pretty normally. The front skirts are joined, but you can separate them for individual movement. I do like how they're nice and long front skirts are kind of cool, unique. The legs rotate and go out, forward and back, nice and far. Of course, you're going to have a very nice articulation in the knee. Just basically a full bend there at the knee, so that's good. It's just hindered slightly by this booster on the back of the leg, but I mean, it's got more than enough bend than you're ever going to want. The ankles are also pretty nice. Just, of course, they're going to point down very far because, again, it's part of the transformation. The ankle armor attaches on via a ball joint onto the back of the ankle, so it's got some pretty good forward and back movement there a little bit. Not really going to get a whole lot of more movement out of that otherwise. I mean, as you can see, it's going to angle rock a little bit on there. But anyway, it's just pretty standard. I think the shape of the feet is one reason why it doesn't stand up very well on its own, because it's got a lot of foot out here to the front, but to the back it's basically got not much of a heel to stand on, just this high heel here. If that was more kind of flat space there at the back, I think it could stand up a lot easier. And that's pretty much it. One thing that you may notice as we've been going over the articulation here is that there doesn't really have very many bad seam lines really anywhere. On the shoulders, it's not really anything because this green part here is just one flat part that goes on the top, so there's no seam on the top of the shoulders. The arms, the seam is hidden by just this detail there, so there's no seam to remove on the back. And if I remember correctly, right, that's right, slightly here on the front and the back of there will be a little bit of a seam you need to remove, but it's very minimal. On the legs as well, it's just the thigh part is just one piece, so there's no seam there at all. On here, the side, on the legs, there's going to be this small bit underneath the knee armor. You'll have to remove that seam there. And then on the same thing on the back, a little bit there on the back, and that's pretty much it. Here on this red part on the ankles, The seam there you'll have to remove, but like I said, that's about it. Those are very, very minimal seams on this kit, so that's good. These Vulcans here on the chest, I do wish that was a separate piece, maybe a gray piece on the inside that would feed through there to make those Vulcans just kind of sticking out. But those shouldn't be too hard to just paint by hand, just with a little bit of gray paint once the kit is all painted up, so nothing too bad there. The wings will go around to the back, and we do have this port on the back, which I haven't transformed this yet, so I don't even know how to transform it. I'm going to do that on camera, but I'm not sure if that has something to do with the transformation, because that's not a port that can be used for an action base. So maybe that's where the rifle or something is going to plug into there, something like that. Looks like it. I'll find out soon enough. Anyway, the wings are just able to move back and forth, and then of course open up, like go all the way up like that, and then this part can go up even more, all the way up like that, and then this red part is able to move side to side. Not really sure why, but just if you want. Again, I guess it's part of the transformation. I guess, like I said, I have not transformed it yet, so I don't exactly know how that works, but pretty cool how that fits into this tan part there when you close that up and then bring that down. So nice articulation there on the wings. The wings are very light. None of these parts are actually like sandwiched together. These yellow parts are, that's one piece, that's one piece. The green and red parts are one piece. This tan part, or the light beige part, is the only part that's actually two pieces sandwiched together, but there's no seam you need to remove on that at all, so that's good. And that also just means that the wings are very light, so you won't have any problem having those staying up, and the polycaps are strong, so no problems with those being up. There's no weight issues at all about those wings falling down, so that's good. Why don't we go ahead now and take a look at the accessories. Okay, before getting into the accessories, we do have a couple of extra parts that you're not going to use for this kit. First one being just this small gray part, which I believe is a part of the backpack for the HG Wing Gundam, if I remember correctly, or just by judging off the size and shape of that. Then we do also have these two smaller beam effect parts, and these you actually could use with this, I believe, because then we do have this beam saber that is actually one of the accessories for this kit. We have the beam saber handle, and the saber effect part is longer, so that's the comparison there. The short ones are supposed to be omitted, but I believe the connection is the same, so if you wanted to use the short one instead of the long one, I think you could do it like that. It did feel a little bit tighter, so maybe that is slightly different connection, but anyway, I think you probably just want to stick with the longer one anyway. It looks better. So there's the beam saber. Sadly, there's nowhere to stick the handle of it anywhere on the kit, so when it's not in use, you just kind of have to set this off to the side somewhere and hope you don't lose it. Then we have this piece, which is actually made up of two different pieces. It's basically just adapters if you want to use this backpack with another kit, or another kit on this backpack. Anyway, just sort of to go into the compatibility of the HG Build Fighters kits. If you want, you can use this. Then this is the point where I would like to mention the other hands that we get with this kit, but those holding hands that you saw on the kit before are the only hands included with this kit. That is one of a big disappointment for me, because it would have been really awesome to at least have just at least one open hand for one of the sides or something, but nope, all we get is just the two holding hands, no closed fists, no trigger fingers, that's it. So that's disappointing, especially when we get into how it's able to hold the gun, because I don't think it's really able to hold the gun all that well, and that would have definitely been helped by a dedicated hand for this gun. But anyway, while it's here, let's talk about, this is the main rifle for this kit. I do really like this quite a bit. I like the size and shape. Basically, this is from the original Wing Gundam, and then this is the new part or parts that are just attaching onto there. This secondary handle is on a swivel, so it can move back and forth, so you're able to use both hands in gripping that if you so choose. And then this can come off. I guess I should mention that this back handle is able to fold up as well, which we'll use later. But these parts are able, well, okay, before we get to that, Here's the beam saber effect part for this. You can just plug it in here to make a beam bayonet. So you can use that like so. Or if you want to take that off, you can use this as its own separate, separate rifle like that, where it's just like the beam bayonet sword. Or you can take this apart even more, and then you've got just a small beam pistol here that you can use for just a beam pistol, and then you've got this piece which you can use as a sword. You can have it hold this part in the hand. You have to take apart the hand and then put it on there, and then you can use it just as another beam sword weapon. So pretty cool that you've got some options there. The master grade is going to be basically exactly the same, so that's going to be kind of interesting, I think, that you can have basically the two guns or something like that if you want it in the different hands, but I think it looks best when it's just all together like that. I like the size and the shape of this rifle. I think it's very unique, so I like to keep it like that. Then we have our beam effect parts for the shoulders, and I'll show you what these look like on the kit momentarily, but I do like how these are just one piece rather than the master grade versions, which are going to be articulated. I like that these are just like this. They do the job well. I don't really need them to be articulated. They just stick in the shoulders and just look good how they are, so that's fine. And the last thing is the shield. I do like the shield quite a bit. The size and the shape of it, it's very, very large. The shape is very interesting and unique. There's a couple stickers here. That green piece inside there is a sticker, and then this light tan piece is a sticker on there. This back part is able to move slightly, and underside this part is able to move like that because you have to hold it. There's nowhere to actually make this shield plug onto the arm. You have to hold it in its hand. So that's a kind of a disappointing thing, is like if you wanted to plug the shield onto its arm and have it holding a beam saber in that hand or holding the other weapon, you can't do it. You have to have this using this handle and actually holding the shield. So that means that if you want to have the shield on there, that the left hand is tied up and there's no way to dual wield any weapons if you're going to be using the if you're going to be using the shield. So a little bit disappointing, but the shield is really awesome, so just having the shield with the kit is good enough for me. I don't need two weapons if I've got an awesome shield like this. So let me go ahead and show you how we're going to put this stuff on, or how we're going to try to in some cases. Anyway, let's take a look at that. Alright, so taking a look at the shield first, as I said, we just need to open this and then basically just slide this handle onto the hand. That's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. And the effect is okay, although it's rather crude. So once that's onto the hand, then you can just close that up around the hand, and it does work really well because it gives it the effect that the shield is like really attached onto the arm, or even kind of like a part of the arm. So that does look really good. I do like how that looks quite a bit. It's definitely impressive, and the look of the shield is really well. Now, the one thing that makes a little bit of a problem is that the shield is very large and gets in the way of this shoulder piece. So if you wanted to use this beam effect part, it's really simple, just plugs it up onto there. If you want to have it on the outside, it works pretty good, but sometimes these parts can clash into each other. Not as bad as like on other kits that have sort of similar problems where the shield armor and the shield the shoulder armor and the shield bump into each other. This one's not quite as bad as other kits, but it is a little bit of an issue sometimes for this, I found. Okay, so then for the rifle. Now here's where that part under the hand becomes a problem, because this handle is nice and long, and if the arm is like this, and we can put the handle all the way through the hand, then it's got no problems holding it whatsoever. But the problem is that that angle of the rifle doesn't look right. Let me back this up a little bit. You can see that it just doesn't really look right if he's not holding the rifle properly. So in order to do that, you have to actually make sure, you have to only be able to plug in the rifle only about that much, and then once you've got it up, so the rifle is actually can't go in all of the way. The handle can't go in all the way because of this green part underneath, so when you want to actually have it holding it like this, it just looks very strange. Its finger is not on the trigger. That's something that I've complained about Reconquista and G kits, and it's the fact that it's a problem for this kit is just kind of embarrassing, that they didn't do something to change the hand or change the handle or something to change the design of that so that it can hold this rifle better. I'm assuming that won't be an issue on the master grade, at least I hope not, but for this one it's definitely a big issue when you're trying to pose it. You have to pose it in a way that kind of hides that, something like this, basically where you can't see how far that gap is between the hand and the trigger. If you're just looking at it from this angle, then you can't really see that, and you can still get a kind of impressive pose there. Anyway, and let me just plug this in on the other side. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's all there is to it. The beam saber is really nice. I do like just the simplicity of that handle, and I do really like the look of this beam saber. For some reason, I don't really know why, it's just a very standard beam saber, but it does look good, but sadly, there's nowhere to actually put it, at least that I've noticed. But I could be wrong about that, because I'm just now realizing that maybe you can put it inside the shield? No, maybe not. I don't know. I don't think there's anywhere to put it on there. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, let's wrap up this review by taking a look at the transformation. Alright, so let's take this off the action base and prepare to do the transformation. First thing we need is just take off all this weapon stuff. I know we don't need it right now at the moment, and its hand went with the shield, but that's alright, I think. So I'm just going ahead and let this do a time lapse, because I'm not going to cover all of the transformation. If you guys want to know about the transformation, you can go back and check out my unboxing video where you can see that in the instructions. But anyway, you can see it now in fast motion. Well, let me just say one thing about that transformation. It was definitely a pain in the ass, and I'm not looking forward to doing that on the master grade. I might even just not do it. I know I want to do it just to be able to show you guys what it looks like transformed, but I think for the master grade I might let you use your imaginations, but I don't know. We'll see. This one was not easy to do. There were certain parts of it that were very cool that they tried to do it, like having tabs where stuff should plug into each other, so you know that everything's like lined up where it's supposed to be and in the position where it's supposed to be in, like the piece that goes up in the waist section, like the thighs plug into there, and then the side skirts plug into the legs, and then here like the wings plug onto the back of the shoulders. So it's just kind of cool how they designed all those parts like to fit onto each other like that, but still it's just a like I said, it's not easy to do. It's just it only, I mean, it took me less than 10 minutes, but still it was just a headache and a hassle. Unless you really want to display it in bird mode like this, it's just kind of something that I would just not even recommend even trying to do. Like I said, unless you want to display it in this position. But if you're not interested in bird mode, then just don't even bother with it. It's just kind of a headache with stuff just not fitting together or falling off or whatever. So that is about it. Thank you guys for watching. I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention about this, but I guess that's probably it. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave those below. Otherwise, thank you once again to Robots for Less for sending this kit out to me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.